Alright guys, this is a video by Kilo the Giant, Mr. Girl community guy who doesn't really fuck around the Mr. Girls community that much anymore from what I've seen, just kind of floats around what's left of TwitchPol, and decided to put together a PV video. He was one of the people that went on, and I think he had an argument with Wick at one point, or maybe with Tom, or maybe both, about the PV stuff, and it was all popping off. And now he's put together a little video essay about it, 34 minutes long. I saw r/Destiny coping about it, saying, "Isn't that Kilo guy a Mr. Girl fan? Isn't that Kilo guy a spicy chatter? We can't listen to anything someone like that says. I can't listen to anything someone like that says. Fucking pathetic. So pathetic. Free thinkers, by the way. Free thinkers. But let's take a look.
The first real day that I was here, that was yesterday, I met some fine Progressive Victory people.
That this panel was organized by Progressive Victory and Brianna Wu.
Progressive Victory wants a coalition of streamers.
If you recognized any of these faces so far, then at some point you've probably heard the name Progressive Victory. To some of you, Progressive Victory might just be an awesome new online democratic community. Maybe you've even been to one of their events. Some of you may have heard the name, but you have no idea what it is.
I've had the chance yet.
To some of you,
sadly,
they might just be the punchline of a joke. Today we're going to take a closer look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of Progressive Victory, including how they may be intentionally keeping you in the dark.
Good editing.
This is Progressive
A bit much
Victory,
on the sound effects, though. A bit much on the sound effects with the clock ticking.
I'll often refer to as PV in this video. PV is a PAC, a political action committee. We'll talk more about PACs in a second. PV was founded in 2022 by Samuel Drismala, a political professional with a background in social media, online marketing, and as a digital director for politicians like Barack Obama and Senator Cory Booker. Sam's goal was simple.
I'm working with an organization called Progressive Victory that I founded, which works to integrate streamers who do gaming media like Twitch and YouTube streaming to pull their audiences into getting engaged in politics and voting, donating, volunteering their time.
The idea was that online politics creation, specifically on Twitch, represented untapped potential in the way of mobilizing and energizing young voters. So after receiving a $500,000 investment from an unknown Democratic source, Sam founded Progressive Victory PAC on July 26, 2022.
The mouth sounds.
Again, PAC stands
Kilo's got some mouth sounds going on. Yeah,
for Political Action Committee.
Now,
what that actually means can be kind of complicated. PACs can be founded by individuals, labor groups, even other politicians, but they're all used for the purpose of directing resources towards influencing the results of an election. Now, to keep things as simple as possible, here are the three main types of PACs. There are traditional PACs, which can donate directly to candidates. Then you have super PACs, which can't donate directly to candidates, but they can spend as much money as they want on anything else, like canvassing, campaign ads, things like that. And the third main type is hybrid PACs. Now, hybrid PACs can do both of the above two things, but they have to maintain two separate bank accounts. Campaign contributions have to come from one bank account, and all other independent expenditures and disbursements come from the other bank account. I'm sure some of you have already guessed, Progressive Victory is a hybrid PAC. It's important to note that all PACs are required to disclose all of their donations as well as their disbursements to the Federal Election Commission, which from here on out I'll refer to as the FEC. This doesn't quite tell the full story though, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. For now, we know the basics. Progressive Victory started in July of 2022, and they aimed to mobilize TwitchPol audiences towards voting in the midterm US elections. And they did.
Yeah, I'm just gonna 1.25 this while we get through the background stuff here. 1.5 it.
Early on, PV was successfully able to recruit several smaller streamers to their cause, notably Riverboat Jack, Frogan, Prime Kai. PV actually even had...
Wait, Frogan's on PV?
Early on, PV was successfully able to recruit several smaller streamers to their cause, notably Riverboat Jack, Frogan.
Riverboat Jack and Frogan. Riverboat Jack did a fucking interview with Taylor Lorenz the other day. Oh man, this PV stuff's gotta stop.
Prime Kai. PV actually even had their own Twitch channel. They sometimes did gameplays, fundraising events. At some point later in the year, PV also brought on Vosh. Vosh plays an important role in PV for a few reasons. He's a pretty large streamer, mainly, but most of their early influence was achieved through Vosh's community. Moderators, Discord members, for example, White Nervosa, who helped build a lot of PV's early infrastructure, came from Vosh. During this initial era of PV, content and streams were produced directly through and in partnership with the pack. With the bump from Vosh, PV and its streamers actually seemed to have a sizable impact on the 2022 midterms.
During that time, we got 5,100 volunteer shift signups and contacted 290,000 voters.
After the 2022 midterms, Progressive Victory went kind of quiet for a little bit. They stopped streaming on their own channel, and reportedly at the start of next year, downsized to essential staff only. So that's it for 2022. But Progressive Victory had already caught a glimpse of what they could do with the space. Let's fast forward to June of 2023. Twitch releases an update to their terms of service and community guidelines. The platform no longer allows paid promotion of politicians, political parties, or issues of public debate. This would prove to be an issue for PV, as they had likely been paying streamers to produce branded content for them. And now, this is where Brianna Wu comes in. Brianna Wu joins PV sometime during the summer of 2023, shortly after Twitch updates their TOS. Her exact title within the organization is a little bit unclear, but she seems to have been, more or less, a recruiter. It's around this time that PV dramatically expands its roster of online politics creators. But because streamers could no longer be paid to produce branded political content, these streamers took on the role of consultants with Progressive Victory. We'll talk more about these guys later on, but the important thing to know for now is that looking back on Brianna Wu's tenure with PV, it becomes actually kind of difficult to think of a prominent politics creator that wasn't involved with them in some capacity. Brianna Wu left PV sometime around November of 2023, after only about 4 months. But the effects of her involvement with them are still being dealt with to this day. For now, though, we know the history of PV. Presently, PV streamers are advertising canvassing events for key 2024 races, and their impact and influence is felt now more than ever. But before we cover their controversies, let's at least give PV some credit and examine their impact and accomplishments in their first 2 years.
What happened in Washington, D.C. Last week with Progressive Victory bringing...
Oh, I've just seen Chud post in Spicy. Brianna Wu came up. Owen Jones taking shots at Brianna Wu. So I have very mixed opinions on Owen Jones. If he's going to shit on Wu, then hey, enemy of my enemy.
Streamers last
Oh,
week.
Laundry. Oh,
What
rancid
happened in
freak this guy
Washington,
is.
D.C.
Nasty fucker.
Last week with Progressive Victory bringing streamers to a congressman and getting them to sit down and talk with them and things. The reason that I think that is
Yo, thank you for the 10 gifted, Lynn. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
brilliant is because it allows people who are online all the time anyway to start directing their audiences and working with the politicians themselves to direct their audiences into actual legislative action, voting action that I don't think we see usually in these places.
Progressive Victory actually deserves a fair amount of credit for essentially doing what it is that they set out to do. If you take a look at the PV website, you'll see their mission statement. Quote, PV works closely with online content creators on Twitch and YouTube to get their engaged, dedicated audiences into the PV community Discord. There, we're bringing new people into the political process by giving them the tactics, resources, and support to make their voices heard. For the most part, PV seems fairly successful with this. Almost all of their volunteer contributors have come from online communities, and in my conversation with one of the founding members of PV, they reported strong early results. Quote, They usually gauge based on volunteer contacts with potential voters. By that metric, PV was very successful.
It went really, really well. And, you know, in part, I'd like to thank the Progressive Victory people, the fine canvassing and phone banking folk. They did good here. I attribute the 500,000 vote difference in the results here entirely to their efforts.
Now, Vosh is obviously joking here, but Progressive Victory has endorsed several winning candidates. Now, that, of course, doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Additionally, every paid employee of PV that I've talked to has had positive things to say about their experience working for the organization. One of the state directors for PV told me that they've met a few state reps and state senators, and that they're pretty optimistic about the outcomes, short and long term. PV seems to be growing too, and their calendar looks pretty full these days. Look, I mentioned this was the short part of the video. I just don't have much of anything to say about PV's function as a Democratic PAC. They seem to be accomplishing what they set out to accomplish, and I don't have a problem with progressive policy or any of their motives. There's something to be said for being resourceful in our modern political climate, and it's nice that everyone who works for PV seems to enjoy it. None of that stuff is the problem. The problem is all this other shit.
Here's something that's really interesting that happens in like all sorts of drama. It actually happened recently with you guys, I'm sure some of you heard about the Progressive Victory drama where a bunch of people were like worried
all this
about,
other
like,
shit shows erudite. That's a
Dark
fucking horrible sign. Okay.
Money influencing the space in ways that we can't see or measure or track could be a problem down the line. That is, I think, the best sort of criticism I got.
Now, that's not something we want to replicate, right? I'm not suggesting the solution for the left is to set up like dark money packs and start funding it. But I think
During the prologue, I said there were some things that we were going to have to come back to. Here we go. The FEC is the government body that's responsible for enforcing campaign finance law in the US. As we covered earlier, one FEC requirement is that PACs publicly disclose all of their expenditures and their disbursements. And additionally, super and hybrid PACs are required to publicly report their donors to the FEC. When looking over PV's reporting on the FEC website, it does appear that they're in compliance with these laws. And just to be clear, I don't think that PV is doing anything illegal. There's just one problem. Dark money is money that is spent to influence the outcomes of elections, and the source of the money is not publicly known. The term itself comes from an important 2010 Supreme Court decision, which is often referred to as Citizens United. The court essentially decided that the First Amendment protects the rights of individuals or groups to independently spend as much money as they want on political campaigns. The Citizens United decision can be viewed as the birthplace of super PACs and dark money. It's also important to note that Citizens United remains controversial to this day, and even as recently as 2022, a Senate bill was introduced.
I'm pretty sure Destiny's like on the, he says this, that the lefty shit about Citizens United is retarded, right? I'm pretty sure I heard him argue about Sam Cedar, I think. But I know Vosh is definitely like the type of guy that bitches about dark money in politics and is a Bernie Sanders loser.
Combat it. That bill failed to pass with a vote of 49 to 49.
I don't actually know what the truth of it is.
So what does any of this have to do with Progressive Victory? Remember the $500,000 investment that Sam used to start PV?
I convinced a foundation who will remain nameless in the progressive space to give me a budget of under $500,000 for the 2022 elections to try to mobilize some of these audiences.
Do they not want to be known for this? Is that
they don't like to be known as of yet. Maybe they'll publicize something in the future.
As of the time of this video being published, Sam's investor is still not publicly known. Additionally, one early member of PV shared with me that they negotiated their contract with Sam's partner, but they declined to disclose who the partner was. PV's very foundation is definitionally dark money, but it's not just the foundation. Let's go back to our consultants. These streamers reportedly are paid to attend weekly Progressive Victory meetings, where things like viewer interests, analytics, and engagement are discussed. The consultants can't share the exact nature of the meetings because of NDA.
I can't talk about what we talk about in the meetings.
But it can be gathered that these meetings are intended for streamers to coordinate content with other members of PV. Many of these consultants also openly solicit donations for PV on their platforms, as well as advertise volunteering for PV to support their political efforts. So, just to recap, Progressive Victory has been paying streamers to attend weekly meetings, the nature of the meetings which is under NDA, and those streamers subsequently have been promoting PV's political efforts and soliciting donations from their audiences. Now, none of this by itself is actually a problem. I mean, it has been publicly admitted even by these streamers that they think PV is just circumventing Twitch's TOS by having these meetings.
So what you're saying there is what I'm saying is correct, that they're trying to circumvent the rules by doing these backroom meetings and paying people to attend the meetings.
I mean, you're saying circumvent. I think that's too strong, but sure, whatever.
So, okay, right.
But Twitch's TOS is their problem. That's not my problem. My problem is two very, very big things.
I think a lot of us would agree that dark money and money in politics is nasty and plays a bad role. Nasty and
except when we do
a bad role.
Number one, these consultant streamers do not get paid by Progressive Victory PAC. They get paid by a third-party company. Now, originally, I suspected that PV employees were being paid by one of Sam's other projects, like Clever Edge, an online consulting firm specializing in digital content development. But after my...
I hate progressives, but is this even bad? Is it just TOS that's a problem? What's dark money, money from bags? Dark money means money that you don't know the source of. It's not a public... The source isn't publicly known. And so, your IRI and Vosh and all these other gay losers would be like, oh, the Republicans using all the dark money, or the dark money in politics, supporting Bernie Sanders and all that shit. They're obviously, it's hypocritical for them to cry about that stuff and then take it.
A conversation with a few PV associates, it seems that their compensation comes from Progressive...
No, but Matthew Foss, dark money means the source of the money is unknown. I don't... Everyone knows Progressive Victory are paying them, but Progressive Victory are getting that money from somewhere, right? And there's an organization that's anonymous that gives Progressive Victory huge amounts of money. Initially, just under 500,000, sounds like.
Victory LLC. And the fact that the money is coming from a separate company means PV doesn't technically have to report this spending to the FEC. Remember that dark money is not a legal term, it's an ethical term. It refers to money that's being spent to influence elections that we don't know the source of. Money plays an important role in American politics. It's estimated that campaigns that spend the most money in any given race win the election around 84% of the time. This is why it's important for American citizens to be keenly aware of where the money that supports the politicians they vote for is coming from. And money that's affecting the results of elections that the public can't see, or dark money, should be thought of as unethical. And PV consultants being paid to urge their audiences to support PV is affecting the results of elections.
They recruited more than 330 people to show up from various communities.
So just how much money is PV spending that we don't know about? Let's start with our streamer slash consultant slash whatever the fuck. This is Counterpoints. Counterpoints is about to come up a lot for a few reasons. But for now, he's going to help us understand how much the consultants at PV make.
Now, I've heard
some very silly things.
It's between $500 and $7,000 depending on the person.
They made an offer, and I was like, why the fuck would you pay me that much? For that amount of money, I would work 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week.
We know that a streamer associated with PV makes somewhere between $500 and $7,000 a month. We also know that Counterpoints considers the money to have been good for about 20 hours a week, or half of a full-time job. The median salary in the US is around $45,000, so let's round down to about $40,000. Half of that is $20,000, which falls within our range of $500 to $7,000 a month at just under $2,000 a month. Even underestimating, there are probably around 15 streamers that are contracted with PV. And that's just the streamers. This doesn't even cover canvassing leaders, state directors, administration, none of which are paid through the PAC directly. So we can't even begin to answer the question of how much money is being spent by PV, or where the money is coming from, making it definitionally dark money. I think I've made it clear why dark money is bad, but I don't even need to. PV has already told you.
Dark money packs.
Dark money.
Dark money.
Dark money groups.
Worried about like dark money and stuff like that.
And when asked about her other pack, Rebellion Pack, Brianna Wu acted incredulous at the suggestion that she was utilizing dark money.
So I know that someone calling in to say something like this is probably not familiar with the differences in different kinds of packs or hybrid pack. I'm going to finish what I'm saying. You actually cannot put quote unquote dark money through the type of pack that Rebellion Pack is. So,
oh yeah?
This is just bullshit.
Strong claim.
Fuck off.
Yeah, Gene Dub.
So that was the first problem. Here's number 2.
Okay. Yeah, but is that the only time you've received money that at some point was directed by Wu?
Yeah, exactly. No explanation of why not. Just Wu, could we get a bit more detail on that, please? Why can't you put dark money into that kind of pack?
Okay. Yeah, but is that the only time you've received money that at some point was directed by Wu?
So directed by Wu.
I don't.
That's the only time she's paid me.
Okay.
Directed by Wu, like the PV stuff. Well, you said
like the
she doesn't work there anymore, and they're still paying me. So.
Wait, who's paying you?
Progressive Victory.
Oh.
So are you paid by Progressive Victory?
Yes.
And you have been since October of last year?
Yes.
If I'm really important wants to go out to the RNC and ask their candidates some questions and go around out there, we can just write him a check to go do that content.
In February of 2024, creators of PV came under fire when it became widely known that they had been receiving payments and attending weekly meetings to discuss content strategy with each other. This was—
Wait, Wick and Wu both did the turn on your cam Kuihman thing. Maybe it's some sort of pedo talking point. That could be why it correlates. I don't believe that that's anything to do with being a pedophile person, Stylo. I think that's a dubious claim that you're making there. Dubious at best, frankly. Honestly, bordering on slanderous and defamatory.
Was mostly previously unknown amongst wider online politics audiences, despite having been going on since around September of 2023. It's unknown exactly how many creators are compensated by Progressive Victory, or which ones, and for the most part, the creators don't even seem to know themselves.
They're a part of the meeting, and whether or not they're paid and whether or not and to what degree they're paid, I don't specifically know. My suspicion would be a healthy chunk of them are being paid something.
In my opinion, being a political content creator and not telling your audience that you are being paid by a political organization is blatantly deceptive and dishonest. In the days following the news, PV creators took to various streams to defend themselves, but most notable among them was Wick and Counterpoints.
This is one of the branding. No. This is one of the indictments that I don't. This is one of the indictments that I don't accept at all.
You didn't know how
it feels like
this was.
Like I understand that you used your what's it called? Your transcript thing to try to suss this out. I understand that, right? What I am saying is that there's a lot of people that are having this kind of Mandela effect, right? Either
sure, but I did the research.
The general sentiment from these creators in response to the backlash was that they were not legally or ethically required to disclose their partnership with PV, and that they weren't being paid for their content, but rather for their consulting. Because the streamers were labeled as consultants simply to avoid breaking Twitch TOS, it generated some confusion amongst the streamers, and it didn't seem like anyone knew what their title or role within PV actually was.
I've been sponsored for a while.
Sponsored by Rebellion Pack. I don't know about by Progressive Victory.
I don't know if
sponsored might not be the right term.
A sponsor or a contracted streamer. I don't know the right term.
Which were sponsors.
Yeah, none of my content. So sponsor is the wrong word.
Okay.
I'm not sponsored. My content is not sponsored. A better word is consultant, and even that's not perfect.
The fact that these creators didn't think they needed to disclose to their audiences that they were contracted by Progressive Victory is probably because PV confused the shit out of them by trying to come up with a rule within the organization for streamers to push progressive agendas without breaking Twitch's TOS. I blame both Progressive Victory and the creators for putting their viewers in this position. Disclosure is extremely important when you are pushing a product. If you're a video game streamer and you're playing a game that you're saying extremely positive things about, and your audience is unaware that you're being paid by the developer of that game, you are directly lying to your viewers, even if you actually do like the game. Now, some of you might be thinking, What if their content doesn't change because of the money? Let's examine that for a moment. Wick and Counterpoints both tried to make this argument.
Yo, thank you for the raid, Lyrics. Welcome in, Lyrics Raiders. We're watching a video essay about a thing called Progressive Victory. It's a little PAC, PAC, that pays streamers to talk about democratic and progressive politics, okay? So this will be really exciting for you guys, I'm sure.
I get a check from them. That's true. But it hasn't changed my opinions. It hasn't changed any of my
Gayrix has no more
thoughts.
social
It
battery.
hasn't changed any of my advocacy.
I do think that there is a difference between money and conflicts of interest versus what I believe is aligned interest.
Wick, for one, doesn't seem to be accounting for the profound influence that money has over him, considering the following exchange.
Well, I mean, you have a dollar amount, like, to do nearly anything with, like, your platform that you've built.
Hmm?
You have a dollar amount to do whatever. Like, that's kind of, like, how much would it cost? What about, like, would you do a Mein Kampf stream where you read Mein Kampf and you don't disagree with it? How much would that cost?
More than
Kilo was literally ratting around asking for this clip the other day. I literally saw him ask for it in Spicy Chat.
Following exchange.
Well, I mean, you have a dollar amount,
This
like,
one
to
is
do
more. Okay.
nearly anything with, like, your platform that you've built.
Hmm?
You have a dollar amount to do whatever. Like, that's kind of, like, how much would it cost? What about, like, would you do a Mein Kampf stream where you read Mein Kampf and you don't disagree with it? How much would that cost?
more than you can spend.
Okay, well,
What do you think?
It's just so gross. It's just so gross. Just be like, yeah, I'll push any idea for money. Like, bro, really?
I'm asking
Yes,
if that price
obviously.
exists.
As for Counterpoints, he's a conservative.
Yeah, why are you a part of it then?
Because how are progressives going to communicate? 45%? No, not just money.
Money.
Okay, I love money, but
For him, it's not really a question of whether or not his content would change because of money. It seems to already have changed.
Thank you. First, full disclosure, I am not paid by Progressive Victory PAC. I'm one of those weird right-wingers that don't sell out for a couple shekels, so...
Once they were confronted with
Jesus.
these things, most PV creators seemed to agree to disclose their contractorship more frequently. But they began to make a joke of the criticism, effectively spitting in their audience members' faces.
Gets mad at me if I don't tell everyone this every single fucking stream.
Well, Wick can't help spitting in his audience's face with that fucking fucked up jaw he's got, fucked up mouth, shattered maw.
I do get a check from Progressive Victory. I believe Dylan also gets a check for Progressive Victory.
Oh
Shocking,
my
I know.
god!
I'm paid by the
I gotta
biggie.
go.
Oh,
I gotta
man.
go. This is unethical.
By the way, notice how Wick just outed Dylan Burns as being paid by PV in this clip. I don't think Dylan ever mentioned being paid before this, and here he is 2 days later, conveniently mentioning it on his own stream.
I work for Progressive Victory, right? They pay me. I work with them. I wanna get progressives elected.
Look, these few creators probably weren't even the
I hate how much of a passive little bitch Wick is. It infuriates me. You should do more Wick hate content. It's difficult to do Wick hate content because he just fucking does D&D panels now, doesn't he? It literally all he talks about on his fucking stream is Dungeons and Dragons to 20 people. Oh, Stardust has got 9 viewers on Twitch right now. Wow. Wow, what's she got on YouTube? Please tell me she's failing. Please don't tell me she's got the Artcom viewers. She does. Oh my.
the only ones that didn't properly disclose their sponsorship, but we have no way of knowing. But for the ones that did come out and talk about it, their defenses were embarrassing. From what I can see, PV tried to hide sponsorship of these creators from audiences for fear of breaking TOS. And the result was a bunch of streamers lying to their viewers, confused about what their role was, and not knowing what they can and can't say. When people found out and confronted them, they floundered. And now they laugh at the criticism like it was all a joke. This chapter in PV's story was extremely ugly. Speaking of ugly,
The ugly.
So-
Rana Wound Stardust.
Part of
Marinite.
what
Okay.
Progressive Victory
Stop.
wants to do, and they're pretty public with all this, so I'm not exposing into this. Part of what they want to do is they think that having a coalition of people, having a coalition of streamers working together can somehow insulate us from a criticism of a singular streamer. Meaning that
John Sanchez super chatted $5. Can we please get the likes up, guys?
222 viewers and 49 likes. Donos and subs are appreciated.
Thank you for the $5, John Sanchez. Thank you very much. Also, a great message there that I totally agree with. Guys, please remember to press the like button, okay? Remember to like, subscribe, donate, buy a membership, gift a membership, buy a super chat if you can. Thank you, thank you.
That if it was Progressive Victory plus Destiny, Destiny now becomes a liability for any campaign that we want to work with. And while I kind of agreed with that initially, I don't know if I agree with that anymore, because I don't know if one problematic streamer is necessarily worse than 5 problematic streamers. I don't want to expose my sneaky tactics, but I think this, I don't know. I think all of us failed the social media checks. I think every YouTuber streamer did. I think.
Some of PvE's creators often exhibit some of the most undesirable human qualities I can think of. Qualities that demonstrate a total lack of principle. The 3 negative qualities that most come to mind for me are dishonesty, hypocrisy, and unaccountability. I'm not even sure unaccountability is a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. Let's start with dishonesty. Aside from the issue of not disclosing their partnerships with PV, the defenses for this were even more dishonest. For example, when Wick was confronted, he repeatedly claimed that he was transparent and upfront about being contracted by the pack.
I did disclose.
This whole time you've also kind of been saying, well, I have been very upfront about it. I have done this.
I feel like I have been upfront. Again.
But it appears that the first time Wick mentioned his employment with PV was on a stream on September 27th, 2023.
Sure. Yes. I am sponsored, right? I am paid by Progressive Victory.
Not only does it seem like Wick was just responding to a chatter here, rather than willfully disclosing on his own, but this also came conveniently one day after President Sunday insulted Wick on X for being paid by Brianna Wu, which was likely in reference to Wick's streams that were sponsored by Rebellion Pack. And the next time Wick seemingly brings this up is on the stream with Reziver and Beckett on February 1st, 2024, almost 5 months later. Now for hypocrisy. This is Food Chops, a small politics and commentary streamer.
I mean, yeah, Wick is absolutely coping. If Wick is Wick pretending that he was like so upfront about all this, he's such a fucking wretched little loser, man.
Food Chops is most well known for controversy because of her late 2023 admission that she
weird
consumes
little trans Asian pedophile.
Now for hypocrisy. This is Food Chops, a small politics and commentary streamer. Food Chops is most well known for controversy because of her late 2023 admission that she consumes lolly, which is cartoon depictions of children in sexual situations. Many creators shun Food Chops and refuse to collaborate with her because of her proclivities, including counterpoints.
If you're consuming it and your justification is like, oh, well, no children are hurt, therefore, like, it's not a big deal or whatever, it's like, no, you're taking the worst parts of yourself, you're opening it up, and you're reinforcing that part of your brain.
But this feeling from counterpoints only lasted until Vosh, Progressive Victory VIP, found himself in the exact same controversy in February of 2024 after accidentally showing a folder on his computer that contained lolly images. Suddenly, Counterpoints' objection to Food Chops became not about the self-harm of reinforcing a negative part of your brain, but about outward normalization.
Hesitant about Food Chops versus Vosh is whether or not I feel like there's an attempt to normalize.
And notice Brianna Wu nodding her head in agreement with Counterpoints. She also refuses to be platformed with Food Chops, but Brianna Wu actually has no idea what her reason for this is.
My objection to Food Chops is not that she jacks off to lolly. My objection to Food Chops is she's a drama farmer.
Brianna must be confused because at the end of this very stream, she plugs her new show with Counterpoints, saying this.
Counterfire, like Connor and I are starting that this week. My whole theory with this is I love drama content, but I love smart drama content. So Connor and I are going to make a mission of debating the crazy.
Yeah, she's such a fucking
Food Chops was supposed to be
slimy fuck, dude.
Be a guest on this exact same panel, but Brianna Wu asked Wick to not be platformed together with her, which he agreed to. And that's interesting, considering what Wick has said in the past.
But if the people who paid me, Progressive Victory, if they said, don't have this type of person on, I wouldn't work with them anymore. I just wash my hands.
But good for Food Chops for standing up for herself.
Is that I'm as much of a person as Vosh, I'm as much of a person as Destiny, and painting me as schizo, unhinged, a drama farmer is an easy way to discount my arguments.
These three people are
okay, but you are those things though.
Really very confused, and it's obvious why. It looks bad for them politically to disavow Vosh. But if you decide to burn a bridge with somebody who enjoys lolly, it seems like it should be because you think they might be a danger to children.
It's like, as I understand it, she's in therapy for that. Good. I'm really glad. I hope you don't hurt a child.
And then if you decide to stay friends with somebody who you think might be a danger to children because of your political goals, you are a hypocrite and a disgustingly unprincipled person. And our last quality is unaccountability, which I think I just made up. This one is simple. None of these creators ever actually really fess up to anything. Wick still hasn't acknowledged that he never adequately disclosed his arrangement with PV.
And just again, since I have to disclose every 30 minutes or so, yes, I am paid by Progressive Victory.
Counterpoints hasn't admitted that he's compromised by money.
I would consider myself an anti-Trump Republican. I'm working with Democrats, though, just because I literally think that Biden is better than Trump.
And Brianna Wu mutes you and talks over you if you ever try to get her to accept responsibility for one of her many lies.
I'm not lying, dude.
You did lie to me. You did lie to me. Okay, I've been muted again. I've been muted again. She can't hear it. She can't take it.
Politics is, at its core, about principles. And if the faces of your political organization routinely demonstrate their lack of principles, then they are also demonstrating political incompetence. PV's been rampant with ugliness. I haven't even gone over the petty interpersonal sniping between Destiny and Vosh.
Destiny and I are never going to get along. At least, I have no idea what would have to happen to make that possible.
That was the reason why I haven't said anything yet, or yesterday and the day before. Is because I was waiting for them to go on stream and give their take first, because I know Vosh is waiting to blow me up and say I'm the one that's...
Wait, what are you reacting to there?
Rampant with ugliness. I haven't even gone over the petty interpersonal sniping between Destiny and Vosh.
Destiny and I are never going to get along. At least, I have no idea what would have to happen to make that possible.
That was the reason why I haven't said anything yet, or yesterday and the day before. Is because I was waiting for them to go on stream and give their take first, because I know Vosh is waiting to blow me up and say I'm the one that's unplugging the whole Progressive Victory thing. I'm the reason why the coalition is falling apart. I'm the combative one.
Right.
I wanted him to give his take first to see if he would try to set me up for it.
Or the fact that their Ohio canvassing event was a creepy atmosphere for women.
Because I basically couldn't go anywhere or exist in any way without being hit on constantly.
Look, not all of PV's streamers have engaged in these behaviors, but when the faces of your operation are routinely demonstrating dishonesty, hypocrisy, lack of accountability, it calls into question the maturity of your organization.
Oh, you guys didn't hear about that? Basically, Lonabox and Erudite went on Destiny's stream to have a big damage control conversation about how, all the women at the PV canvassing event, DGG canvassing event, felt a little bit perturbed because literally every guy they met was like, hey babe, can I get your number? I'm kind of like Destiny,
And frankly, I don't think it can be fixed.
Something. I heard somebody ranting about Progressive Victory. They're so mad at Progressive Victory for some reason that they want all of us to be rounded up.
Let's recap.
Yeah. Lonabox was suggesting the Bumble rule. They were suggesting having the Bumble policy at their events, where only women are allowed to approach people. You can't start hitting on women. You have to wait for the women to hit on you.
Something. I heard somebody ranting about Progressive Victory. They're so mad at Progressive Victory for some reason that they want all of us to be rounded up.
Let's recap. Progressive Victory, as a project of Sanders Mala and unknown investors, infiltrated online politics communities in 2022.
I started trying to form connections with a lot of these creators.
It was a really dumb suggestion. Imagine policing that. Imagine an event trying to police that.
Took me a while.
I like
wormed my way in,
but
they had genuine political goals, and they've achieved results. But they've corrupted online politics creation by bringing on Brianna Wu to recruit as many streamers to their cause as possible. They're even paying creators who barely cover politics, conservatives, notorious liars like Keffels. They'll bring on just about any commentary or politics creator at this point. And the worst part is, these creators don't feel obligated to tell you they're being paid by a political organization and attending weekly meetings. I mean, how does Stardust, who doesn't even work for PV, have better standards of disclosure than their own consultants? Brianna Wu mutually departed from PV last year, and reportedly it's because of her narcissistic personality and her wanting to control everything. Her problematic tenure with PV is a microcosm of what's happened with them. They're funded by invisible money. Their streamers hid their sponsorships from their viewers. They embarrassed themselves when they defended themselves. And now they make fun of the people who criticize them.
I gotta go. This is unethical.
They also repeatedly demonstrate dishonesty, hypocrisy, and take no accountability for themselves, much like children.
Okay, I've been muted again. I've been muted again. She can't hear it.
I don't know if PV can fix what it's done to online politics.
Progressive victory. I sound like a cult leader whenever I say that.
But here's what they can try. Number one,
Yeah.
no more paid streamer consultants. All streamer work for PV should be on a volunteer basis. If any streamers want to continue to work for PV in other roles like administration, they cannot talk about PV on their stream at all. Number two, reveal the source of all money coming into PV, including through the nonprofit. Endorse candidates who promise to vote for bills that combat the effects of Citizens United. Number three, implement standards of behavior and respect for any creator or associate of PV. And number four, grow up. Progressive Victory has demonstrated a remarkable lack of maturity since entering the space, and their lack of principles is detrimental to their political cause. But maybe these guys don't actually care about politics. Maybe Sam and Matt and Eric, they're all collecting big paychecks from PV's nonprofit, and the less we all know about it, the better. Maybe they already thought of all these criticisms and they don't give a shit. Maybe, for PV, it's better to intentionally keep you in the dark.
Off my fucking platform. Go away. Libel. Blood libel. Fucking fascist piece of shit.
F-bombs was right. I wouldn't go that far. Not about everything. Certainly about some of it.
They're even paying creators.
But F-bombs is a bit of a machine gun. He hits some of the points, and then there's some that are missing. But you just forget about the misses. But yeah, great video. Great video. Obviously, it's a bit boring for me at the start because I already know all the background because I've been covering that ad nauseum for the last year. But for a wider audience, definitely. The points are good too. Spamming it in chat. Everyone go like the video. Really well edited, yeah. Yeah, so guys, exciting PV news, key PV alert. Okay, guys. That's what Destiny says, isn't it? Key alert. Key PV alert. New recruit. Nominal Naomi. Huge update. We're thrilled to announce that at Nominal Naomi, Naomi is uniting with Progressive Vic in New York to canvass for Rep. Jamal Bowman. Not Jamal Bowman. Not Jamal Darkspear. Okay. Join us on June 22nd to 23rd. And make your voice heard. So, Nominal Naomi. You may remember her. So Andy Ngo tweet, and he says, I am working to induce lactation so that I'm able to breastfeed our youngest child. A trans activist who is a biological male celebrated on a TikTok video that she is able to secrete a fluid from her chest, says she will feed that to a child. Transgender mother announces she took hormones to create milk-like substance. Just finished my morning pumping. I can confirm it is indeed breast milk. I can cite peer-reviewed journal articles about lactation and trans women, but they might be too hard for you to read because your post-millennial is written at an elementary school level. I don't know what the fucking deal is here. This just seems so fucking freaky. My understanding is that there is research that was done at, where was it, York or some shit, that said that basically they were able to do this, and that they did it so that they could, fuck, what was it? They were feeding like some grandmother's child who didn't have another source of breast milk or some shit. It's like a situation like that where it's done by like researchers for the sake of like or like doctors, like save a fucking kid. I can like get it, or like to give a kid the ideal situation or whatever. Yeah, if you open Twitch, link studies and reply. Yeah, so my understanding is there are studies, but like, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? A grandmother's child. Sorry, I'm being retarded. I don't know what I'm... what is it? It was like a... It was a trans grandmother that was feeding the kid that the mother couldn't feed, I think. Right? That's part of this tweet. I honestly, I can't be bothered to read through all of these fucking studies. The point is, it does technically work, apparently. I would immediately look at anyone doing it, like, why is that? No, it does. It's the same, apparently. There's like 4 case studies on it, I think. Macronutrient analysis and patient perspectives. These findings provide reassurance about the adequacy of nutrition from human milk produced by non-gestational transgender female and non-binary patients on estrogen-based gender-affirming hormone therapy and support the importance of this experience on a personal level. Yeah, so that it's equivalent. This is the first step in having all white men hooked up to an IV drip of man milk. I don't know if I believe that science there. I'd imagine the scientist was biased in some way. See, you make me side with the psycho fucking freaks like these. Because you're just retarded. You should just throw yourself... like, seriously, dude. What a retarded response. Exactly, just call it weird. Just say you think it's weird. I think it's weird. I think it's fucking a big red flag. If some trans person is breastfeeding a kid, I'm going to look at that very sus. But why are you being retarded? Why are you just saying, oh, I just don't believe that science. It wouldn't work. It's not a woman. It's not a woman. Like, you sound like a fucking idiot. Like, seriously, like one of the lowest IQ. It's just such a brain dead response. And you're proud of being dumb, too. Crazy. But obviously, you know, this stuff is obviously freaky, and it's freaky to almost everyone. So I have no idea why you're assigning this person to your progressive org. When you're, like Brianna Wu banging on about, we have to get rid of all of the not optic trans people. These trans people are not optics. They're not good optics. We got to get rid of them. We got to not have them around anymore. And it's like, this is who we're hiring. The trans breast milk person. Name a good optics trans person. Yeah, I can't. You're right. You're right. Why is that retarded? Because you have just reflexively said, I'm going to assume there's a bias in that study. That's why it's retarded. I don't know how else to explain it to you. You have no reason for criticizing the study. There are people who know much more than you who have laid out in a document very clearly the findings that they had. And you're just saying, well, I assume that's bias. What do you mean? I don't know how to explain to you why that's retarded. You're not even thinking. There's no logic for me to grapple with in that. The study should be scrutinized. That doesn't mean I'm going to assume that scientist is biased. Because I have read about male lactation. Okay, well, I'm reading about it right now, and it says that it's fine if you're on estrogen. That's what I'm reading right now. On this study that I've got in front of me right now. So if you want to link the study that you've read, that you've obviously read, clearly you've read a study about this. Clearly you've read many studies about this. So surely you would be able to link me one that says, incontrovertibly, the macronutrients between male and female breast milk, even when on estrogen, are different. Surely you would be able to show me that right now. Because I've got one telling me this. And you've read a lot about this. Naga's trolling. That's why I'm not addressing him. Okay. Various trans orgs have been known to twist the data. Okay, is the Journal of Human Lactation, is that a trans org, do we think? Official Journal of International Lactation Consultant Association. Do these sound like trans orgs to you? You know, this is the sort of stuff that I want, really. Well, not that I want. What's this all about? Nominal Naomi, tag your new video series detailing one autogynephile's misuse of her family as a prop for her fetish coming soon. But is that actually anything damning here? This all looks retarded, dude. See, they're just calling it sexual abuse. Sexually abuses his newborn. Where's that claim coming from? Is it just purely the idea that this lactation thing is just sexual abuse? That's it. That's not a very good argument, I gotta be real. This is my problem. Show me them doing something actually bad, so I can go at them and call them these things. I see the image. I'm an incredibly cuddly cow. Yep, I see that. That's pretty wretched. Do you actually believe male lactation acceptable, or are you playing devil's advocate? Go back and listen to what I've said, you fucking retard. Go back and listen to what I said, you fucking moron. Holy shit. I've been very clear about what I think of this. You think it's acceptable? You think it's acceptable? What does that even mean? It's acceptable. You think anyone that does this, you should just fucking shoot them? Is that what you think? Because that's not what I think. So if that's what you mean by don't think it's acceptable, yeah. Do I think... Okay, yeah, so you're a fucking retard. Okay, cool. Cool, it's alright. We'll time out anyone saying yes to that because you are scum that don't belong in this chat. That's 24 hours, easy. How about you come up with a real fucking opinion on this? How about you come up with a real position on this? How about you think through it? You think it's acceptable? What do you mean by that? What do you even think you mean by that? I think that if someone raises their kid and there's no reason to think there's any negative impact happening to the kid, then they should be able to raise that kid in the way they raise the kid. Now, you can sit there and say it's weird and freaky. I think this is a red flag for other things that might be going on given the context it's happening in, which I would say too. I would say that. This makes me suspicious. But if you can't show me the issue, if you can't actually point to the problem, and you're just going to sit there and go, you really think it's acceptable for men to do this? Neck. Get out. Leave. Now. Just leave. Just because you're not, I don't want to interact with someone that dumb. There's no need for the co-feeding. Okay, let's imagine this was totally, let's imagine these people are totally normal. Let's pretend for a second they're totally normal, except for being trans breastfeeders, okay? And then you see a study. One study says it's exactly the same as female breast milk. It's exactly the same. And then you see another study that says not only is it exactly the same in terms of the makeup of it, but also there's positive psychological effects for both the child and the quote-unquote mother, I guess. And that's all 100% proven, and you know that. Like, you're going to say that's a bad thing still? Really? Are you? Because that seems retarded. Kuihman, can we get 4 months of streams where you deep dive into trans breast milk the same way Destiny dove into Israel-Palestine? Yeah, I don't think I'll ever live down the trans breast milk arc, frankly. So it's retarded for PV to get this person on board. Obviously, most people think this is freak shit. Everyone thinks this is freak shit. No one's not suspicious at this because the world we find ourselves in is a world where this is a big red flag, where you expect other bad things to be happening. So there's no reason for PV to be signing this person up. There's no reason for this person to be bragging about it. The fact they do OnlyFans content about it definitely raises an even further eyebrow. Not about the baby, but about the idea of lactation. But if you're going to sit there and say, fundamentally, this is wrong, or people shouldn't do this, or this shouldn't be acceptable, it's like, well, what the fuck are you even talking about? It's just a total unwillingness to engage with the actual facts. It's the same. This came up even. I think I said this. I was arguing with Bug about this in Discord the other night because we were talking about the vegan cat thing as well. That's where it came from. It's the same thing. It's just like, yeah, it is weird. But if you can't, like, if you can't point to an issue, then why are people making fucking Twitter posts? You can't. Don't say bug one. You don't get to say like bug one with your own name, retard. But like when people like Vegan Gains is abusing his cat, Naomi is sexually abusing her kid. It's like, dude, can we fucking take a step back from it? Can we actually figure out what's going on? You don't have, no one has proof for any of this. So yeah, that's my position on trans breast milk. Okay, guys, that's my position on trans breast milk. The trans breast milk lady will be joining up with Bosch, the lolicon horse fucker. Keffels, the notorious, well, not Keffels anymore, I don't think she's that PV. Destiny, the raper with a shovel guy.